A powerful tornado hits the city of Nihommatsu, Fukushima Prefecture, Japan. The footage shows the hurricane blowing the roofs off the roofs, and a passenger car being swept upside down in the air by a strong gust of wind. A dust vortex or dust vortex is an atmospheric phenomenon that occurs near the surface of the Earth during low clouds when the Earth is strongly heated by sunlight. It has a vertical axis of rotation. The height of the vortex movement can be 10 to 20 meters. On May 27, Uruguay was hit by a heavy downpour of rain and hail, causing flooding in Uruguay. Because of the strong winds of up to 100 km per hour, many trees were fallen. Without electricity were left residents of more than 220,000 homes. The state of Rio Grande do Sul was the most affected. Very often lately the South American continent finds itself in the thick of destructive climatic events. Storms, floods, abnormal precipitation, temperature records, all this causes irreparable material damage to countries and takes human lives. For decades, millions of dollars have been spent to combat the anthropogenic factor allegedly causing climate change. However, there is no result. The climate continues to change rapidly. Every day cataclysms take hundreds of human lives. Large-scale flooding begins in central China after heavy rains. Zhengzhou, the administrative center of Henan province, was flooded as a result of a dam break. According to official data, 12 people were killed and about 200,000 evacuated. The heaviest rains in decades have led to widespread flooding in central China. In the city of Zhengzhou, with a population of more than 10 million people, the dam at Gojiaju Reservoir was destroyed. Water gushed into the subway, and hundreds of people were trapped in flooded trains and tunnels. According to Chinese state media, 12 people died. There are fears that the death toll was much higher. About 500 people were evacuated from the subway. On the whole, according to the official information, nearly 200,000 people were evacuated in Zhengzhou, which is the administrative center of the province Henan, including about 600 seriously ill patients at the university hospital. Traffic, water and power supply interrupted. According to meteorologists, the city has received 457 millimeters of precipitation in the last 24 hours, while the annual norm is about 640 millimeters. The crisis headquarters in Zhengzhou said that such heavy rains usually come once in 100 years. As a result, several rivers in the region rose to critical levels. Due to the flooding, many highways were closed and rail and bus traffic was suspended. At Zhengzhou Airport, 270 flights were cancelled. Electricity and water supplies have been interrupted in many areas. Rainfall in Henan province is forecast to continue for the next 2 days, but its intensity will decrease. Sydney is covered in smog. The city cancelled ferry services and issued a warning to drivers about unsafe road conditions. In addition, airports have cancelled or rescheduled most flights. And meteorologists are predicting rain this weekend. In general, according to forecasters, from June to August, the metropolis expects more precipitation than usual. Recall that winter now begins in the southern hemisphere. A freight train fell off a bridge in the USA. The train was crossing a river and crashed into a special vehicle on the bridge. As a result, most of the convoy ended up in the water. There are no reports of casualties yet. Rescue workers are working at the scene. It is known that several people, including the driver of the car and several drivers, are hospitalized. Journalists on the scene note that liquid is leaking from the tanks, which is why the area is cordoned off for safety purposes. Off the French coast, near La Rochelle, ecologists discovered tons of dead fish. Representatives of the environmental group have already established that about 100,000 fish of the blue whiting were dumped by a fishing trawler. She was shocked by the photos of dead fish floating in the Bay of Biscay, the sea minister said. She ordered the National Fisheries Supervisory Center to investigate. For his part, the commander of the Dutch trawler Marguerite said that the fish fell out accidentally, due to a broken net. The Marguerite is one of the biggest commercial fishing vessels in the world. Its length exceeds 143 meters. It belongs to the European Association of Freezer Pelagic Trawlers. Its representatives assured that they have reported the incident to the authorities and have taken measures to eliminate the consequences. Ecologists accused the owner of the trawler that the whiting was thrown away deliberately, so he wanted to get rid of excess catch. Conservationists called for strict control of fishing trawlers. Industrial fishing depletes marine resources and destroys the ecosystem. Peru declares state of emergency due to oil spill. After a major oil spill, the level of pollution on 21 beaches in Peru has reached dangerous levels. The cause of the disaster was a volcanic eruption near the island kingdom of Tonga. Huge waves caused by the eruption overturned an oil tanker. The oil spill off the coast of Peru led to ecological disaster. An emergency was declared in the country. Entrance to the beaches of Peru is closed. The president announced the formation of a committee to solve the ecological crisis. In addition, local fishermen on the beaches were involved in cleaning up the oil spill, and food aid will be provided to families affected by the disaster. A team of UN experts will support the fight against pollution caused by the oil spill. Explosion at a factory in Spain. More than 250 children evacuated. It is known that several employees died on the spot and more than 20 people were taken to hospital. More than 250 children who were on excursion in the vicinity of the plant had to be evacuated due to the incident. None of them were injured. Causes of the accident remain unknown. Firefighters may take several days to extinguish the fire.